I think just listening to you talk through this is pretty helpful, obviously, to help fill out my bracket, but also like where you're leaning in terms of potential outright winners. I think maybe Cameron Young is kind of where we should start. Anything else you wanted to add to Cameron Young? You like him as an outright winner? There we go. 121 to, like, are you kidding me? Like 120 to 1. That's
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
hit one of those and you're good to go for a couple
absolutely.
weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are some other things that are worth mentioning with Cameron Young. I think the very first thing to say is, just like Tom Hoagie, he's a very volatile player for his price all around. And again, that just means that when he has his ceiling, he's competing with some of the best in the world. And I think there are also some trends in his game that are really promising. Like in the long run models, uh, he's not going to pop that much because around the green play has really been an issue for him, at least early on in his PGA Tour days. But in the last couple events, it's been a strength for him, and so suddenly he's actually gaining around the greens in his last 20 rounds. That means that his recent form expected strokes gained is popping off the page. It's up there with the likes of Alex Noren, Joaquin Niemann, Russell Henley. These other names that are, I think people would immediately put into a couple tiers above Cameron Young's, and maybe that's a mistake. I think Cameron Young really deserves to be in that tier, especially with the way he drives the ball. And that sort of brings me to the next point, which is Cameron Young in his last event was his first disappointing event in a while. And his main issue was, I think he lost 8 strokes due to penalties off the tee where he had to re-tee. And in match play, if that happens, so be it. You can't lose
Yeah.
more than one hole at a time, whereas a double or triple bogey kind of kills your chances. And really, he almost made the cut despite that. And I think it just goes to show the kind of scorer that he is. And that's proven to be the case. He's among the very tops in par four scoring. And so I think people think of his length and they just assume, oh, he's a great scorer, but he can only get it done on par fives. He's actually been a better scorer on par fours than par fives. And the real reason is he drives the ball long and straight. And so he gets a lot of wedges, and his wedge play is phenomenal. And then he's a very good putter as well, very underrated putter. And,
Looking
and
like
so
me
I
off
think,
the tee sometimes, right? 3 off the tee. I mean, there's nothing worse
yeah,
than that in your golf game, right?
nothing worse than that. And the thing about it is, like, it was such an outlier for him. I already mentioned, like, in the last 20 rounds, he's gaining over half a stroke per round in driving accuracy, and that includes those penalty strokes that he had to take at the Players. I mean, he was just phenomenal off the tee prior to that. And the thing was, like, I think on in the first round, he ended up losing 2 tee shots down the stretch in his last like 3 holes or something like that. And he had gained over 2 strokes already that round prior to that off the tee, which means prior to that, he was hitting the ball long and straight consistently on a golf course that is really difficult to hit fairways, especially if you're as long as he is. So, pretty incredible driving performance before those issues. And the issues happened in 20 holes. And I'm very willing to just throw out those 20 holes. And even if you don't, he still projects so well, and it's now a format that if he does have those wayward tee shots every now and then, as long as he's hitting it
Yeah.
well in the intermediate, he's going to be fine. And then I also think it's worth mentioning, like, the way that he scores, the rate at which he makes birdies and even eagles. That's a really, really good thing, both for match play itself, but especially for the DraftKings scoring, because just like it rewards birdies more than bogeys on a typical week, it rewards holes won more than it punishes holes lost. And so if one guy wins 2 up with 6 holes won, and Cameron Young only wins 1 up but has 8 holes won, Cameron Young might be the more valuable guy that round. So everything about Cameron Young I love this week. Really, the only issue is that he has to play the number one player in the world, but at least he's playing the number one player in the world when Rahm is really struggling around the greens on a
Good
golf
call.
course
Yeah.
that it's emphasized.